Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Association Weekend. Here in the playoffs, it's the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 3. The Cavs trying to get their first win of the series. The Knicks trying to go up 3-0. I'm your host, Lauren Rosen, joined by two of my favorite co-hosts. You might know him as one of the most viral guys of these playoffs thus far, Dom 2K. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It's been a really, really fun playoffs. Feels like it started months ago at this point. I'm just having a lot of fun.
10-year NBA veteran joining the show, George Niang. What a pleasure to see you again, my friend.
Yes, thank you for having me on. I'm super excited. Let's go.
Well, I'm excited to hear you two break this one down. So the Knicks took care of business at home in games 1 and 2 at Madison Square Garden. Dom, I'm going to start with you. What's it going to take for them to make it a perfect 3-0 to get this Eastern Conference Finals started?
Yeah, pretty much keeping the same principles that they have since that one game against Atlanta where they kind of changed the offense, they changed the rotations. They just look really good, and especially in this series, I feel like they're being really intentional about involving James Harden in a lot of action, whether it's on ball or off. I feel like they're also something they got better at throughout the season was keeping Brunson out of matchups. So, that was a guy that you would see teams routinely hunt. I think they got better at it throughout the season and keeping him out of those. So really just keeping that in the ball movement, that's been great. They've really done a good job at improving what Mikal Bridges does on this team. There's no more of those nights, not like the last month where you don't really know he's on the court, So pretty much keeping the, principles that have them undefeated for a pretty long time now.
George, you, of course, played for the Cavs. You've played with guys that have joined the Cavs since you departed the Cavs. What do you make of this group together, and what's it going to take for them to get their first win here of the series?
I mean, I think doing what they did, game 1, right? They were playing fast. They were getting up the floor. They were scoring a bunch of points. And then in the fourth quarter, they tried to slow down. And evidently, that's the Knicks game, right? When you slow down and you play the Knicks game, they're going to beat you at the game that they play. But if they can get back to using the crowd that they're going to have, because I've played at Rocket Arena and it gets rocking in there, if they can put that momentum behind them and play fast and get up a lot of threes and make the Knicks have to play at a faster pace, like you look at the Knicks starters minutes, like they're 40, 39, 38. Like the faster you play, the more you can wear them down. And I think that's at the Cavaliers' advantage.
Dom, from what you've seen, what could make the Cavs more effective tonight as they look to defend home court?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. First of all, you cannot have another half where Evan Mobley doesn't attempt a shot, because I think kind of since the Toronto series, I wanted to see him be more assertive, and he has. He's shooting the 3-ball really, really well right now, and I thought there were some opportunities for him to attack, but also to kind of keep executing as well, because I think the way that second half went in game 2 could make you think, oh, Cleveland's going to come here, go down 3-0 automatically. They generated a lot of good shots. I don't think in the third quarter they made a 3 maybe until the 5-minute mark. The offense really started to struggle. So there was just mistakes compounding on top of that. And that's what they can't have, because the simple turnovers, that compounding on top of missing the shots that you're trying to get, it wasn't just threes. They were also kind of getting into the lane. Evan Mobley had some floaters he missed. Harden had some floaters he missed. So, there's some offensive principles that you can keep the same, but you just can't compound the mistakes on top of that if you go cold, because they were still able to kind of stay in the game until the fourth. They were down 10 or 12 points. It looked like they might make a run. So they were never fully out of game 2 as it may look. They've got a chance here.
One of the strongest offenses in the NBA this season, certainly down the stretch of the regular season and throughout the beginning of these playoffs, have the Cavs been. So, George, if you're looking for one player to step up in a more significant way than they were able to in games 1 and 2, who are you looking at on the Cavaliers?
For me, I want to say that it would be, Jared Allen, but, that is dependent on him, getting the ball in the short roll. I'm going to have to demand a lot out of Evan Mobley. You're going to have to go out there and find the ball, because if it's not finding you, you're going to have to go be a demon and go get that ball, because when he has touched the ball, good things have happened, whether if it's assists, rebounds, and he's shooting the ball extremely well, as Dom was saying. And if you can add another person that puts pressure on the Knicks defense from a scoring aspect, I think that is going to cause some problems for the Knicks, especially on the road. Like, a lot of people are saying, oh, this is a sweep. Like, the Knicks did their job. They won 2 games at home, what they were supposed to do. Realistically, probably should have lost game 1. But, tonight is huge. I mean, if the Cavs can go out there and use the momentum that, Rocket Arena is going to have and win this game, the series is fairly in a good place.
George Niang calling for some demonic energy in the Cleveland front court. Dom, what are you looking for on the Knicks side? Who might be an X-factor here in game 3?
Yeah, so it was tough to find one for a team that's been playing this good and has had their starters playing really well. But I'm still going with Mikal Bridges because that is the one starter throughout the regular season. You would look and say, oh, he's only got a couple of shot attempts, or even in the playoffs, I think there was a game where he only had 3 shot attempts. And if you look at it from Game 4 in Atlanta, once they started the movement, once you have Cat at the top, he's cutting. It's a lot less just catch and shoot from Mikal, and it's a lot more moving in the offense. If Brunson is getting trapped, he's in the right spot to get the pass. And so I'm still going with Mikal because if you just go back and look at the last month or so, it directly correlates. His play and him getting more shot attempts and such and being very efficient directly correlates with their success. I think he's 73% on 2-pointers right now. It's like 47% from 3. It's not crazy attempts, but overall it's like 64% ish in a field goal percentage since Game 4 against Atlanta. So yeah, I'm sticking with him, and he's been playing really well. But when he's going, this just looks like a different team.
Well, if Game 1 taught us anything, this series has potential to be extremely competitive. I, for one, think it's going to get a little bit longer, but Cleveland, of course, has to take care of home court, and that mission starts tonight. We're going to come back, continue to break this down, hear from both head coaches ahead of Game 3 in Cleveland. So George Niang, Dom 2K, and I will be back right here on The Association when we come back after this short break. Don't go anywhere. Association here on NBA TV and the NBA app. I'm Lauren Rosen. He's Dom 2K and he's George Niang. And we're going to go back to Cleveland now. Kenny Atkinson, head coach of the Cavaliers, addressing reporters on what adjustments he hopes his team can make to get back into this series.
What's up, Serena? Hi.
Outside, down 0-2 might seem big, but you guys just did this in the last series. In what way, if any, what have you learned from that last series heading in, and how are you guys kind of leaning on, like, hey, we've done this before in one series?
Yeah, I think that's we've faced a lot of adversity in the playoffs, and in the regular season. We are battle tested. But no one's, that doesn't make it like, oh yeah, we got this. It's more like, there's some things we got to improve. If we're gonna get this Game 3, but I think the maturity part, the even keelness of our team, the composure we have, the experience we have, allows us to approach this in a good way. Not desperate, none of those words, those extreme words. We kind of know the task in front of us, what we got to do, and we've been through this before.
Heading into this series, you said, hey, we're going to have to make threes to win this series.
Yeah.
Has anything, in terms of, you want me to use that? Okay. You heard that part of it. Has anything, in terms of the messaging to your group, changed with, obviously you guys were getting good looks, but it's not knocking them down as the series goes on?
We're process oriented. Are we making? Got to read the defense. Got to the defense dictates the shots you're getting, and their team that packs the paint. We knew that coming in. 93rd percentile on threes last game. So there's two ways you could look at it. Oh man, don't take them, or you can say, man, we got really great looks and keep taking them. I'm more of the latter. With that being said, let's say there's 5 possessions where we get to the rim. I'd love to see that too. So, and it depends who the player is, right? Taking that 3. So we addressed that. We definitely want to get to the rim more, but wide open threes, we gotta live with them.
Joe.
Hey, Kenny.
What's up, Joe?
I'm aware that this would be a better question for an off day, but we were all off yesterday.
Yeah.
Down 0-2, are you considering any lineup changes?
We'll see. I read with my staff before we go through last minute, FEMA type conversations, and we'll see. I don't commit till the end. But I've liked how our starters have played. Besides that third quarter where they went on that run in Game 2, but overall they've been pretty good. The question, Joe, is do we need more shooting out there? You could argue that. Do we need another shooter, especially where they're playing us? So that's up in the air, you know. But again, to be determined.
Joe Reedy.
How much is foul shooting a concern at this point?
Whew, just hoping it doesn't come to bite us, you know. But I look at it as like, are we getting to the line? That's what we control. Like I don't have a joystick up there like trying to, you know, get the ball in the hoop. I'm like, man, get to the rim. That'll help us get to the line more. That's kind of all we control. So we just continue that process. I don't harp on it, talk about it. Get to the line is the key. Get to the line more than them.
Now, George Niang, I don't want to embarrass you here, but I do know that Kenny Atkinson, when he was your head coach, called you the ultimate connector. You guys seem to have a great relationship. What do you imagine he might be saying to his team tonight ahead of Game 3?
Yeah, I think Kenny has a unique approach as a coach, and he's definitely going in there like, hey, guys, you know, games 1 and 2 happen. You know, now it's on us to do what we do. We've had great looks. And kind of specify probably the looks that he probably is preferring to get. I think when he said it, he was like, we want to get wide open threes. We know this team packs the paint. We want to get wide open threes. So I can tell you at shoot around or walk through that he is emphasizing getting in the paint, looking out against a crowded Knicks defense to kick out for wide open threes. You know, there's probably a select few on the Cavaliers that can shoot off the dribble or contested ones. But if you're not them, you are looked at to drive bad closeouts, kick out to guys that can make wide open threes. And I think he did a good job of reiterating that. As a coach, it's tough, right? You don't want to give away too much in a pre-Eastern Conference Finals press conference. But, you know, I think he's kind of saying what he really wants. And he wants to make and take threes against a crowded Knicks defense. And I think if they do that, they'll have a really good chance.
Dom, what else do you want to see Cleveland do? You've been picking apart their offense all season long. If they're going to get back into the win column in this series, what adjustments do you hope to see Cleveland make?
And funny enough, it's mostly on the defensive side for me because I feel like towards the end of the season with the shows we were doing, we were constantly talking about how they were going to, or they really didn't have like enough two-way guys on the roster to kind of cover for James, cover for Donovan Mitchell and keeping them out of foul trouble. And when you look at how New York is attacking, like I said at the beginning, they're being super intentional, whether it is on ball or off ball, being very intentional at going at James. So they opened, I think, the first 2 possessions of Game 2 going at him. Off ball, there was one thing that they did where they basically just made him the low man. Josh Hart beats a closeout. There's nobody there. And so I really think that's kind of where it is because the threes are going to go in or they're not. The free throws, like you said, hopefully they get better. Their big thing is defense. And it's that team defense concept that they were talking about after Game 1, after they blew the lead. You know, it shouldn't really be James Harden's job to go 1v1 with Brunson. And even though he was doing a decent job there's some times where they just needed to have the help be a little bit faster, have the rotations be faster. So that's really the side that I'm looking at. That's what will get them back into the series.
Well, speaking of one, Jalen Brunson, still to come on the show, we'll take a deep dive at the visiting New York Knicks. They have won 9 consecutive games in these playoffs. Can they make it 10? Well, George and Dom will break it down for you right after